Hello everyone, today I'll be telling you about how to do basic MIDI transcription. Basically, this will tell you all the things that I usually keep in mind when I make a MIDI file. First of all, this is FL Studio. We'll be using FL Studio. Now, this is what happens when you open it up. We do not need these, so right click on these little button things and press delete. So we have a clear template. There's nothing there. So we just have this now. So let's just right click, replace MIDI out. So you find the MIDI out, you find that in the MIDI section. Once you've done that, you've got channel 1. This is channel 1 of a MIDI file. If you go into a MIDI file, it has up to 16 channels. I've just made channel 1. Now let's press the plus button and do the exact same thing as before. So now we have MIDI out 2. Now this is also channel 1, but we do not want that. So we drag it up to channel 2. So now I have 2 MIDI channels. If you want to know where, this is the channel rack I'm doing it on. You find the channel rack from that button there. So do this a couple more times. So now we have 4, make sure MIDI out 3 is channel 3, MIDI out 4 is channel 4, continue that until you're at about 16. So that's channel 5. If it's starting to get cluttered, we can do, click those again, and they're all gone. Okay. MIDI out channel 6 there, so do that again. I'll go up to 10 channels. Now, 9 of these channels can be used, so all these channels can be used for instruments, but channel 10 is drums. So you have it as drums now. So we've got 10 MIDI channels, but if you go into these, you don't hear anything. Why is that? Because you don't have a synthesizer. How do we get a synthesizer? Okay, you see this thing? This is the mixer panel. Okay, this button puts the mixer panel up. We go to channel 1, mixer 1. So you can split. I'll tell you about the mixing later, but for MIDI transcribing you don't need anything. So let's just go and go to slot. You see this over here? Slot 1, these are effects. So we're gonna put a synthesizer in here. So we go to Fruity LSD, and we have this. Now just set this little thing at the top corner here to 0. Make sure it's always 0. Because why is it 0? Because this is 0 here. This port thing here is 0. That's basically like the cable that connects them. So if that's 0 and it connects to something that's also 0, they're connected. So it works now. But let's just see. Oh no, I'll just take all that off. Okay, so how do I get this thing? I click in here. Like that. So what about putting notes on? You just click on the note and you have a note. If you want to change how long the note is, you can drag it like this. Okay, that's nice. So we got that. But then the rest of the notes are the same length. You could do that, but a simple way to change the notes is that you just click. You click this note, and that note's the same. Click this, is the same. So that's an easy way to change the notes if you want. So let's just make that like that. Now that is how to make MIDI notes. So if we were to export MIDI now, go to export MIDI file. Just hold on. Just save as tutorial 1. Okay, so if we want to export, go to export MIDI file. Just put the desktop, and then we have this thing. Now I'm just going to choose pattern because the channel rack. If you want to have the notes in the channel rack, choose pattern. If you want to choose the... Okay, just anyway, choose pattern for now. and export. So now we have it exported. That's a MIDI. Congratulations. Now, if we want to do something different, so now we know how to write things and create a MIDI. But if we were to make a song using a MIDI, that's a bit different. So let's have a look at instruments. You can change the instrument by going to the patch. So if you want to make this a violin, you can make it a flute. That's how to change the instruments. So we've got that. If you want to make more than a single bunch of notes, you can just they play at the same time. If you want to use different channels, make them, yeah. So let's have a look at making a song using these. I have okay, this thing here. This is a playlist. I have, it would look like this to you, nothing like this. So, choose pattern 1, this is your pattern that you're using, this is the channel racks pattern, and you press there, and you have this. Let's just make this about, you drag to change the length. So why is this necessary? Well, notice this thing here. One way is song mode, one way is pattern mode. Pattern mode, let's just, yeah, this. It's got like a yellow thing to it. But, check this out. Nothing is in my playlist. Then you unclick this, and then it plays from the playlist. So that means you can put in audio files over the top. So now, in this mode, you can make it so that you have both the MIDI file playing and a song playing. So let's go ahead and see, the song plays at the same time as a MIDI file. So we now have a song we're going to cover, and we're going to cover this section. So first of all, we need to make sure it is the right tempo. Now this can be, let's just first of all cut it a little bit so it's right at the edge. So the song plays instantly. Then we click this little top thing next to the name. And we have this thing here. Go to Detect Tempo and choose between 100 to 200. It has detected it as 177.988. Let's just quickly make that 178. Round it up. That's a little bit of maths. So now, it is now matched up with a metronome. So, as you can see, the grid and the waveform, I'll just show that. It is being properly spliced. It is, they're on the same grid section. So let's go ahead and check this out. So we go into this channel. What is the instrument with here? It's very 8-bit. So let's make this pat channel a sawtooth. That sounds 8-bit enough. So we have that. So to quickly figure out which note is that first note, what you do, notice how I'm pressing my space bar so you only hear that note. That helps you listen. You can also do that. So what I know is that they sound the same here. But if you do not know the note, you can hum it. So, you listen. And then you, basically while you're humming the note you're trying to listen to, you go up and down the MIDI, you go up and down that MIDI file, and see which one sounds like the note that you're humming. You do it at the same time to make sure it sounds in tune. So you hear dud dud. Let's drag that note down to change the length. That works. You can also tell that because it sounds slightly higher than the previous note, we know that the next note's also going to be placed slightly higher. So in this case, it's a single difference. It's a single tone difference. A semitone, really. So this is a fast note. We hear there's another note here next to it, but it's very fast. You hear it's very, very fast. So what you do, you hear the so what you find the note, you drag up and down and you try and find which one sounds like that note. There you go. Then you have the last note. It sounds right. So there we have that. So this note here. Notice how I hum the note, and then I look for it in the piano at the same time. Now this one goes for a longer amount of time than other ones, so we drag it over until it changes to the note. So now we... And you click that note and it becomes the same, so no need to resize it. You just click a note which is the same as the other ones with the same length. If you know the note already, you can easily just check the other notes. So, if you do not know a note and it's hard to find it, just check which notes you used in the song before. Another thing you can do, you go into View and you search. No. You go to Helpers. Scale. No, is that right? No, never mind. Don't worry about it. So now, if you want to listen to this without the song, you click that. Now it is just showing what's in the channel rack, nothing outside. So it doesn't show this. There you got it. So that's one way to make sure you know the right notes. If you want to know another way, that is to make it easier, you go ahead and click this half speed thing. So right click the tempo box, click half speed. When you do that, it's a lot easier to hear the notes because they're slower, although they're an octave lower. So what do you do here? If you press Control down, it moves it down an octave. You can select a note by dragging over a bunch of notes and do the same thing. You go Control up an octave, Control down an octave. So now they're at the same pitch. So let's listen. And we don't need to change it too much. That's a long note, so we drag it, we select the other notes and put it back to the same length as it was before. it's in tune. Also, you can drag the note by just dragging it. Dragging at the end changes the length. Dragging in the middle section changes where it is positioned. So if you misplace a note, you have that. And also you can change how far it drags. But you notice there's a magnet here. Change that to say a step. And you can also make it a half step. Changes how less or how forward you can, like how it can change how far you drag. So in the quarters, a quarter step is a lot more sensitive than a half step. I like half steps. Also, one more thing. If you know the scale of a song, it becomes easier to know, especially since this note here, same as this note. This note here, same as this note. This A up here is an A down there. They're all in the same scale. So, if you do not know the note too well, you're trying to figure it out, just try and look at existing notes. If any existing note sounds like the current note. It's the note we just used before. Those things. Wait a second. Yeah, so that's a long one. Okay. Now here, you can kind of tell they've got a fast note. But I've already slowed it down half speed, so in this case, just use the whole spacebar trick. Something like that, isn't it? So, for this case, it's really fast. What can I do? Find the last note. That note. Yeah. So, finding the notes themselves, your hearing improves the more you practice. So the more you transcribe, you'd realize. So, there's definitely more than two notes between here. It sounds like a ba-da-da-da kind of thing. Like there's 4 of them or something. So in this case, we can change a step. And we can drag it so it's even smaller, like that. So we want to hear the note just before this G. That sounds like it. Yeah, that kind of thing. So got that, and really it's just filling in the blanks, whatever sounds like it's in that scale. So that D there is the same there. So the B here, that's in the scale. So if we go over to here, that's probably the same. It is. Now there's a little gap here of about. So let's just do that. And notice how the A is used in the scale. There's an A. The only one that doesn't sound like it's used, the E is used. All these things. So the D is used. So that helps by if you look at the scale of the thing. So if it's a D, B, G, we have a D, we've got a B, an A. And it sounds right as well. So now let's go ahead and untick this. And then go up an octave. That sounds nice. Of course, we've got a slight issue. There's a timing here, so let's just quickly drag that over. So just check this melody to make sure it sounds as close as possible. So we've got that now. So what about the other notes? Those notes that are not the melody. Well, we can listen to them. So what you do here, you disable this by pressing this thing. This changes if it's played or not. You see how if I press it, it plays. If you don't press, if it lights off, it doesn't play. It's be muted. So let's listen and to the bass. It goes kind of thing. If you listen carefully. If the bass is just too hard to hear, well, you see this is a 2 here, 1, 2, 3. There's different mixer channels. If we press, you see how there's an audio thing here. If we change the track it's played on, so to 2, go to the mixer panel. It's now played there, where the 2 is. So we can use that so that if I disable this, this still plays. But if I enable it, both play. So let's use this. We know that the audio is coming through here. We can put an effect on it. So let's put on an EQ. An EQ changes the amount of frequencies you hear. So you can see that's it. If you're not getting this, make sure this effect is on the same channel as the channel it's been assigned to here. See? Notice how it selects. Anyway, so we have that. So we want to hear it. Let's just disable that. Notice how you can hear the bass more now. What I did here was I raised the sections, the lower sections, which is the bass section, and made the higher sections less. So I put them down, so you can't hear the higher sections as much. So now we're going to hear the second one. It's a piano. Let's make this a square. Bassy, isn't it? Do, do. So we use the humming technique again. Bo. That sounds in pitch. You go bo bo. Boom boom. It's the same. Dun 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 dun. Oh, that one's slightly over. Here I'm just going to change the thing like that. So we have that. Now this repeats. So what we do, we drag, shift click, and move. And now it's duplicated itself. Then do do, I think. Dun 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 dun. You know this is a do, because it's slightly higher than the do 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 do. So do is kind of between these two notes. We know it's an A. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. That sounds a bit weird. It's out of tune. So, of course, think of the scale. This was a D, this was a B, there was a G, and all these things. So, this is used a lot. Let's use this. Does that still sound right? No. We can use a C. That's not used as much, but it sounds closer to it. Bum 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 bum. You also want to check. Sometimes if you drag all these notes, I just selected drag. They're the same down here, but it's gone up by 2. that's another pattern you can look at. So try and find patterns. The patterns look at the same. Because if it was like this, it might be with the same scale, but it's different. So it sounds the same, but it's been slightly transposed up, then it's probably usually is. So that's the same. We duplicate by Control, Shift click, and then move. Anyway, so da 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 da. That's the same, isn't it? But it's now da 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 da. You go dun 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 dun. If you want to know what I'm doing to make these notes disappear while I'm listening, I'm just doing Control X and then undoing. That helps me so I can make sure it is the same note if I want to hear just the audio. That's the same. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. And you have like a tom at the end. Do. Let's just do that. Let me drag it over. So that one goes down in pitch. I'll show you quick things here. Pitch change. So you see this thing? Higher it is, the higher the pitch moves. Down, the lower pitch moves. This is without needing an open note. So what you need to do, just make sure this, I'm holding shift, making sure it's in the center. So the pitch is normal. We have this, use the paint tool, you can use that, just up there, and go down like that. Sounds enough, but it's still very slight. So we can change the zoom like this. So if we have something like that, we can change how far it's used. And we can move it back up to there. So now we have something that goes down, do, just by do, kind of thing. Notice how that works. So now we can make sure, if you want to make sure, just make sure it's from the start, it's normal, so there's no issues with FL Studio not understanding it. So now if we listen to both of these, you can listen to them separately. Nice. So the last section we're going to look at is percussion. So here I'm I'm muting those two. I'm going to go back to the EQ and go up to this little thing here and press default. So it's back to normal. So we have that. So here, all we need to know is the different sounds. So we hear that sounds like a snare, like a ch. Look at that snare sounds like it. So we do, put a snare in. I'll just do that. I'll do that. So we hear a ch. So we just do kind of thing. So we continue going across. Yeah, it sounds like it, so it's a pattern. So let's move it over, so it's all like that. So that's the snare. Then we hear these little, like these little hi-hats in the background. Those things. They sound like this. Close hi-hat. Those sound like they play throughout the entire time, don't they? Yeah, it plays along. So we just do that. We have them there. Select, duplicate. Yeah. Now if you want to add some extra things, usually a drum has a bass, a snare, hi-hat, and a crash cymbal. And toms as well, but they're not used as much. If you want to have a long note, you can... That's basically this. Yes. But there's nothing in that song, so we're just using this right now, because that's all we hear. So let's just add a bass drum to make it sound a bit more full, and just make it like this. Kind of thing, you know? You beatbox. We can have a snare at the end, or like something like that. So we've now got a percussion. That's it. So now if we export the MIDI file, hold on. We export. Note, make sure it's a pattern. So if you're making a MIDI, you only want this thing to do, use a pattern. Full song is the playlist, so anything that's in a playlist will be exported. So that includes, say, if the playlist was like this, it would go up to 9 bars export, and this would be silent. But if you're just doing a pattern, it cuts it to there. So now, let's go ahead and find it. So here it is. And that is a basic tutorial on how to do some basic MIDI covering. Hope you enjoyed, and thank you for listening. I'll be doing some more advanced tutorials later on if you want those, and those should go about some more advanced users. So yes, there you go. Thank you for watching.